Welcome to EnglishX on ICRT, brought to you by MandarinX and Vine Education Company. EnglishX is where managers learn to discuss international business topics in English and to start thinking more like a boss.
欢迎收听 ICRT EnglishX， 每周四早上由中文课和葡萄藤国际语言训练中心特别企划，让您掌握全球商业趋势。
So I was chatting with a friend of mine on Facebook, and she said something very strange. She said, actually, I think of you quite often. Most of the time, I want to learn the way you live and work.
Okay.
And I was like, what do you mean by that?
Right.
And she basically says, like, she's constantly stressed. Her parents are giving her stress to move back home. She wants to find a better job here in Taipei. It's too expensive living here, all this stuff. And I'm like, well, why do you say you want to learn the way I live and work? And she said, well, she sees the way I work and she sees the way I am. And she thinks she wants to be like that. She wants to learn that from me. And it's like, yeah, I feel stressed too. I just don't show it, you know?
Yeah.
Right? Hello, everyone. I'm Russ.
And I'm Ting. And we're here to get your day started right, thinking English and thinking business.
And today we will discuss stress.
Hot topic.
Improve your English as we discuss real-world problems many English students have at work.
让我们看看这礼拜有哪些热门国际商务话题。
So Russ, where does stress come from?
Everywhere. You get stress from everywhere. Basically, stress can come from your bosses, your colleagues. Stress can come from yourself because, like, you basically give yourself all these expectations and then you don't meet them. And then that's where you start developing that stress. So maybe like you're trying to make, your boss gives you a task and you're like, oh my God, I have to do this the way he wants it. And then you feel stressed about doing that. Or you're working with a colleague and you're like a little jealous. You're like, oh my God, like she's doing that so well. I don't think I can do it that well. And then you start giving yourself stress. So it comes from a lot of places.
Yeah, but most of your but basically you're saying it comes from within. It's all internal. It's just from yourself.
You have to just basically analyze, you got to see where the signs of stress are for yourself and how does it manifest in you.
Right.
You know, so pay attention to those signs and then you can find, all right, exactly where stress is coming from.
Well, what kind of signs are we looking for?
Anything from turning red, fatigue, swellness, just, you know, your stomach starts hurting. There are many physical signs from it.
Insomnia, maybe not sleeping well.
Not sleeping well because you have to worry about some stuff. Waking up early.
Growing pimples.
Pimples, yeah. So lots of different signs of stress all over. Yeah.
So Russ, how do I reduce stress at work?
Well, the way I do it is by being in the moment, right? What I mean by being in the moment, I mean, like, don't think about the future, what's going to happen later on. Don't think about why there was this problem that's giving me stress. Think about, all right, what can I do now? What things can I control? Because you need to realize that some things you can't control. And you can't let things that you cannot control give you stress. You just got to work with what you have.
Yeah, but those things, they're going to be there.
They're always going to be there.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is kind of prioritize those things and figure out, okay, what can I handle? What can't I handle? The things that I'm in control over, okay, what can I do about them right now? Because you can't really focus too much on them. If you focus on things that you can't control, what's the point? Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, reducing stress at work comes down to just doing little things. Taking a 5-minute breather, like walking out of the office, going downstairs, getting a little small breath of fresh air. That helps. Walking around like a block. Taking a little 7-Eleven trip.
Well, I noticed one thing that helps you with stress is having a sense of accomplishment. So sometimes I notice you give yourself little tasks to do, and you just finishing one of those minor tasks kind of makes you feel, oh, I did something good. And maybe that starts a chain reaction to start doing positive things.
Yeah.
So there are all these ways. So what are the main causes of stress at work?
Well, in Taiwan, I think a main cause of work is the excessively high workloads, long hours, having unrealistic deadlines, maybe feeling rushed, feeling that pressure and feeling overwhelmed.
Well, I know a lot of bosses here give their staff unrealistic goals and deadlines. So they feel, oh my God, I'm so rushed, and they're giving me this. Basically, they always say mission impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, I think the causes of stress almost vary depending on where you are in your life. I remember one of our younger staff. What thing made her stressed was finding out what she wanted to do in life.
Okay.
Like she wasn't quite sure like working at our place was the right place.
Yeah.
But the stress of like finding out what exactly she would like to do, like just finishing college, that caused a lot of stress. Like she just was crying in the office, like suddenly, and I was like, oh no, did something happen? But it was just the stress kind of building up of her, like the uncertainty of something. I think, but that's for a young, like very young, kind of life is still ahead of you. At our age, I think sometimes health.
Focusing on health.
Yeah, for me, trying to balance work and life.
Trying to go home on time, like you said earlier today.
Right. and just having more of having that balance, because I know we don't. And we will sacrifice some of the life aspect of it for the work. And I definitely know we have.
Well, it's easy for us because we're not married, we don't have kids. But our students, they have married, and they are married and they have kids.
Right.
So what about them? What did they do?
What do they do? Well, I think sometimes their marriage is the thing that causes stress. Because we have another staff that she is married, and actually her work is her time away from the stress of like raising two like really rowdy little boys and kids at home. So coming to work is almost a way to relax and get away from the stress, because she feels a lot more stress at home.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know something that happens with our students, mid-level, senior level, and even bosses, is when they do feel stressed, they lash out at their staff, or they lash out at their husbands, girlfriends, whatever.
They bring it home, right?
Yeah. So what happens when you do that and you realize after that it's actually wasn't that so much, it was more just you feeling stressed, so you did that?
Have a little bit of pocket money, because you're going to need to buy flowers, candy, food, zinzu naita, milk tea, right? Something to apologize with. So not just an apology will work. You often need apology with something to eat, I think, in Taiwan. So
apologies are definitely underrated. If you did lash out at someone and then realize, why did you yell at this person, and is it just really you feeling stressed, definitely buy them a coffee from 7-Eleven. It's okay to say mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. That's Latin for it's my fault, I'm sorry, basically. Yeah, so,
and having the self-awareness to know that was your fault.
Yes.
So that you can, that you don't always like get too defensive.
Yeah. Because many times it's really, when people do, if you're the one that's being yelled at, many times it's really just not you. It's really other factors in there, and just being aware that happens.
Recognizing
sometimes.
it.
Yeah, it's perfectly okay. That we've seen lots of fights, arguments in the office that really just are fixes.
Right.
Okay.
How do you fight stress at work?
Well, going back to a little like when you lash out and saying sorry, it's just really having that ability to communicate with everyone honestly and say what you're thinking, say what you're feeling, open communication. I remember a couple years ago, we had one staff and everyone in the office was really busy working, except she wasn't busy doing anything. So all of a sudden she felt this stress, like, oh my God, everyone's so busy and I'm not really doing anything. And she sent me, like, it was very cute, send me a message online asking me, oh, can I speak to you? And we went into the back room to speak. And I'm like, what's wrong? And she goes, oh, and she told me, like, everyone's doing important work and she doesn't feel she's doing anything to contribute to the company.
She's brand new.
And so she was feeling all that stress, like, oh my God, I have to contribute. Everyone else is contributing, but I'm not. And I was so happy because that is what she was doing. She was asking for guidance. And that's what you need to do when you have stress. You need to think it's okay to ask for help from your bosses, from your colleagues. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm not feeling sufficient right now. What can I do to get better? Or maybe it's out of my control. What can I do to relax?
Right. So you're saying don't try to do things by yourself. Getting help, it's okay to ask.
Make sure you have a good environment for your staff.
So communicating.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to slightly disagree, but the only way I disagree is because my personality I'm more of a loner type. So the way I fight stress is I like to have more alone time, being away from people. I don't like to communicate. I don't want to share. Sometimes I understand that you have to share, but sometimes I just got to get away.
Okay.
Now that sometimes works for me, but I also can recognize and I'm aware that this may not be the healthiest way to deal with it. But for me,
do you have outlets? What are your outlets for stress then? If you're the loner type and you don't want to talk to anybody about it, how do you release that stress?
In the past I've done two things that I don't know if they work or not, but they kind of at least give me some time. One is I do more work, but I'm listening to music while I'm doing work. So I just sit there and focus on just accomplishing tasks, like little tasks, the things I need to do in the office while listening to music I like. But also I tend to do that after work hours, like, or super early in the morning before people start. So either I'm still working at 6 a.m. still doing that job, or I'm in the office after midnight, 1, 2, 3 a.m. and it's completely quiet. I just have my music blasting in my earphones and just going through work, and that kind of helps. The other way is playing
video games.
Playing a lot of video games.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cultures handle stress in different ways. I don't know if it's culturally, but I use food. Food is my thing. I just enjoy a good meal. So I just plan like, all right, I'm going to take 2 hours off. I'm going to go to this restaurant that I really like. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to enjoy my meals. So that's one way.
It's going to be easy to tell when you're stressed, because then they'll see like, oh, have you gained weight, right?
I guess so. I guess balance it. Going to the gym. Does that help? Yeah,
people always say going to the gym reduces stress.
But going to the gym gives me more stress.
Does it?
Because I'm like, I can't do this. I hate yoga. Every time I'm doing stretching, it's like, I can't touch my toes. Stop pushing me.
Yeah, we're not traditionally gym people. Now, at the same time, the few times I have gone, I can say that I was physically tired, but I did feel a lot better afterwards. So perhaps the experts do have a point in working out and exercising as a way to reduce stress.
Okay. So just listen to yourself and figure out, all right, what works for me, and do more of that.
Yeah, good.
Hashtag like a boss.
Each week, we talk to real-world bosses to find out their secrets for success.
现在到了每周 EnglishX 访问时间。
Hello, everyone. With us today, we have Aakash Dudhmande. He is MD of Alternative Medicine. He has his own company here in Taiwan that specializes in holistic medicine and health solutions. He basically uses fragrances and oils to help people's physical and mental well-being. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Thanks for having me.
Good. All right. So let's get started.
Let's get it.
We're talking about stress, so I want to know, where does stress come from?
Well, stress can come from many places. The most important or the most common place that the stress comes from is from our inability to control the outcome of a situation. Whenever there's a possibility that you see for a situation going where you don't want it to go, or you think that this is not the right place to go, and that's the time when you have this idea that I have to do something.
And to do something about it. Have to control unpredictability, basically.
Yeah. Mostly it's a generation from the fear of the unknown.
Okay. So why does it happen? Why does stress happen?
Well, see, when you're not able to control a situation, then your mind and body ends up going into this crisis mode, and it turns on all the emergency systems in the body, and then all of these stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, go up, and good hormones or happy hormones like serotonin and endorphins and dopamine, they start clambering down, and you have this flight or fight situation in the body once again, as you have in kind of an emergency or a confrontational situation. And there your body wants to simply survive and protect itself. That's where you get all the sweatiness, that's where you get all the heavy breathing. You get, because the body wants more oxygen for it to function, your brain wants more oxygen, and then you start getting all this headaches and bad dreams and inability to make a decision because every system is slowly shutting down. And even recent studies, we found out that in long-term stress, your brain cells actually begin to die.
So you get dumber?
Yeah, literally. I mean, forget dumber.
Yeah. Start losing brain cells. Okay, so what do you suggest the bosses that you advise, and bosses like myself and like our audience, what do you suggest us to do to relax?
Well, the first thing that I suggest that has been pretty useful in my own life as well is to listen to other people. Just because a situation is not going the way you want it to go doesn't mean that it's going to a bad place. Listen to others, talk with others, talk to your employees, talk to your managers or subordinates, and get a larger picture of the situation. so that you're better able to make a decision, and your mind and brain stops considering this as an emergency or a crisis situation. So then you can calmly or easily take a decision. And another thing is, like, for people who have been in a stress for a long time and are unable to come out of it, couple of exercises that you can do pretty simply. One is that every time you wake up in the morning, just don't get out of the bed immediately. Sit on your bed for 10 minutes. Close your eyes. Take deep breaths 7 times from your nose and release from your mouth slowly. And just let any thought come to you. Don't stop it. There's no sense in guided meditation.
There's no fighting back your thoughts.
No
right?
fighting back your thoughts. Don't judge it. Don't judge those thoughts. Don't refuse those thoughts. And don't accept those thoughts. Let them come to you and observe them.
Well, one thing that you've taught me is to be in the moment at that time. So maybe that's fine in the morning, but what do you do when you're in the office and all of a sudden you have all these tasks to do, and then your phone is ringing because you have to do this and do that, and then your staff is knocking on your door because she needs this and that? What do you do in those moments?
Well, the easiest thing at that time is to take one thing at a time. Right? All right, categorize it. You have a phone ringing and you have an employee knocking at your door. Pick up the phone and make your employee wait.
No, exactly. Like one thing you've taught me is to live in the moment.
Yeah.
All right, what can I do right now? Because I can't do these two things at the same time.
Exactly.
All right, you wait, I do this. Handle one thing at a time.
Yeah.
One thing that a story I'll share with you guys is I was at the airline, and airlines can be very, very stressful. And we missed our flight, and everyone was freaking out except for me. I was just like, what can we do now? There's nothing we can do. Things are out of my control.
Exactly.
Right? So at that moment, all I did is told everyone, sit down and wait, relax. I grabbed the phone, talked to customer service, was on the phone with them for an hour, and just fixed it. What can we do now? And we just worked through it, and we got great success out of it. And that's because, you know, you're in the moment, and I'm only in the moment. I'm not worried about, okay, what's going to happen when I arrive there? What's going to happen with my luggage? I can worry about a million things, but no, right now, what's the best thing for me to do right now? Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens in the business as well. You have many decisions or ideas that come forth from other people, or some deals that are going on, and they reach a point where the ball is no longer in your court and you have no idea what to do next, and you have to simply wait, and that sometimes can become a stressful situation. But if you're in the moment, if you're simply preparing for what's going to come, the best your knowledge doesn't have to be perfect in any sense.
All right, so that's in the office. How about at home? What advice do you have to someone who has to deal with a lot of pressure, both in the office and then once they get home?
Well, at home, it's see, in an office you have a little bit freedom more than your home, because you being this boss figure, so people listen to you despite they might not like it.
But at home, the girlfriend's gonna fight back. The wife is gonna fight back.
Yeah. At home, no matter how big or famous you are, you're at an even ground. You're at level ground.
Your mom will cut you back down to size, right?
Yeah, and your kids will embarrass you no matter what you do.
They don't know who you are.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
okay.
you're just dad.
All right. So what can we do at home?
What you have to do at home is to simply accept. To be in that moment, you have to accept being on an equal footing. You have to separate that sense of private life and professional life.
Yeah.
Where in private life, you have to treat everybody, whether it's your friends, whether it's strangers you meet on the street, or whether it's your family, close or far away. You have to treat everybody equally. And the moment you start controlling the people,
or trying to control,
trying to control the people in your personal life, just like you would fight back somebody trying to control you, they fight back you trying to control them.
Okay.
So accept, listen, and always try to have a dialogue, not a monologue, a dialogue. Talk with people, listen to them, and also make them listen to you.
Great advice. Do you hear me, bosses out there? You need to, one, have a dialogue, not a monologue. Dialogue, two people talking, a conversation back and forth, not just you directing orders. All right. Thank you so much, Aakash.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Before you go, how can we find out more about you?
Well, we're on Facebook now. You can search for shunya.life on Facebook, or you can come on to our website, dynamicholistes.com.
Sounds great. All right. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Mailbag.
Do you have a question? Well, we have answers. Email us at englishx@vinec.com or on the web at vinec.com/englishx.
有任何问题，欢迎发送到 EnglishX@vinec.com 或者到葡萄藤网站 vinec.com/EnglishX.
Okay, so we have Wayne from Taidong. He's asking, what shows can I watch to improve my English?
Well, Wayne, there is a ton of shows you can watch, and there's a lot of outlets. The outlet I would recommend for you is probably Netflix, just because you can control the subtitles.
Do not use Chinese subtitles.
Well, I'd say you can use it. Just if you want to relax, use it. But if you want to learn, don't use it. Put in the English subtitles, try to follow along. But if you just kind of your brain to turn off and watch. But again, going back to your question, improving your English, having the subtitles in English. You're saying not. I'm saying yes, have English subtitles.
Don't have English subtitles in Chinese. I guess have them in English for a little bit, but then don't rely on them. Shut them off after a while and really test yourself. One of the things, the video that some of you are seeing right now on YouTube, one of the main comments that I get from it is, why don't you put subtitles on it? I'm just like, stop relying on subtitles. Listen.
Yeah, I think in Taiwan, because everything has subtitles on it, we're so used to that just being a given. But in the US, for example, there's no programs that have subtitles. So, let's just go back to the show. I've actually recommended any shows, but just things on Netflix. Find something that's in your wheelhouse, something you have an interest in. If you like crime and law shows, I think a lot of students in Taiwan tell me Suits is good. I haven't seen it, but they tell me Suits is very good.
Friends, a lot of people like watching Friends.
Yeah. It's watching those like quick 30-minute sitcoms. Now, what have you been watching that
Well, no, I want to go back to Wayne's question. One of the things that I would say for when you're watching TV shows, don't watch the entire series. Watch one episode with English subtitles and then rewatch episodes. You'll find after a while, you kind of start picking up and improving your English because you start, I understand more what's going on. So it isn't just one-time viewing. You have to keep repeated. You have to keep viewing it again and again and again. Repeat viewing helps.
And it helps if you really like the content, you really like the show, you really like the actors, because then you won't mind repeating or rewatching episodes.
Also, watch to your level. If your English is pretty good, okay, watch stuff like Suits. If your English is not so good, maybe you shouldn't be listening to CNN or trying to improve that.
Yeah, find things that are geared towards what you know. But again, how about one specific show? Can you give me one? Something you've been watching recently?
Game of Thrones is way too difficult. The Office? I always quote The Office to my students, but
yeah, I like The Office because I think people who work in offices can relate. For some of the things. So Office and things sitcom Parks and Recreation. Yeah.
Albert from Taichung asks, how can I improve my English pronunciation?
Well, when we were kids in America, the way we practiced our pronunciation, I was not born in the U.S. I was born in Taiwan, so my first language was Chinese as a little kid. So when I went to America, my English pronunciation improved because we had something called hooked on phonics. Where they put like a C and the AT here.
They put it together.
Cat. They had a lot of that. And as kids, that's fun. Like you're fine because that's geared toward your level. Now, as adults, you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, what can Albert do? He's not going to be sitting there looking at it.
Yeah, it'd be a little embarrassing being an adult doing like at cat, but at bat. It's kind of so for pronunciation's sake. One thing I have to say is have realistic expectations pronunciation. If don't try. Your goal shouldn't be to sound like a native speaker because you are not a native of that land or that country, right? Like, for example, I learned Chinese and I can speak Chinese fairly well. However, I don't think I can ever get a Taiwanese
accent.
Yeah, like a very 标准, we call it 标准, very accurate accent, just because I was not, I didn't grow up in this land.
Well, my first language is Spanish. So similar to you, I had to learn English when I was living in the States. So for me, what helped was mimicking. I would just copy people. I was like, oh, I like the way that guy sounds, so I want to speak that way. So I would just copy people. And I'd watch a lot of TV shows, and I watch a lot of movies, and I would copy the movies. So I used to watch Ninja Turtles on repeat every morning, and just like, I didn't know what they were saying, but I just repeat everything that they would say to the point that I just memorized the entire movie.
So you're saying a lot of like, cowabunga, dude.
Exactly. And that's the way I sounded, So just for me, mimicking, just really listen to other people, listen to the way they're saying it, repeat it, record yourself saying it, repeat it. Oh, I'm saying it kind of weird. So just work on it again and again. So
a lot of mimicking and a lot of
copying,
repetition.
Yeah, repetition, yeah.
Okay.
And last one, Eason from Taipei says, I don't always understand my colleagues on conference calls. What can I do about it?
So this goes to listening comprehension. That's tough because depending on who's on your conference calls, a lot of our students, the conference calls are people who are from Europe, from the Americas, sometimes in regional like Southeast Asia. So we're getting a lot of Singaporean, Malaysian English accents. The hardest one, I think, a lot of people say are Indian English accents.
Yeah.
So it's very natural to not understand. Even for us native speakers, hearing other accents is tough for me. I remember the first time going to London and just talking to a native person like in the store. I understood maybe 80% of, and I'm a native speaker, so I couldn't understand a British accent in some ways. So what can you do about it? Similar to the last question, it's you're listening to a lot of things. You got to listen. You got to have a lot of repetition, which also needs patience.
Yeah. You definitely have to have patience. I would say fake it if you can. If you're just listening, not participating in that, fake it and maybe get follow-ups, read the notes, and then go back and just listen to it again and again. Because sometimes you won't understand it, especially if they have a different accent.
And unfortunately, a lot of our students, they don't have speaking roles in conference calls. They're just sitting there listening, right? So hopefully at one point you will get a chance to have a speaking role, which means you'll be forced to ask a question, ask someone to please repeat, ask someone to please clarify.
Saying
confirming
things like
information.
Saying an expression, I would say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't follow. So if they ask you something, you say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't follow. And they'll know not to repeat what you said, because sometimes you don't understand and they repeat it and you're like, yeah, I still don't understand because I don't know that vocabulary word or that expression.
They didn't slow down for you. They didn't,
But if you say, I don't follow, what the person will do is the person will rephrase what they say in a different way and maybe even a little bit slower so that you would understand. So definitely if that comes up, just say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't follow, and see it again. But repetition, again, like we said before, really focus on your listening if that's a problem.
And I also don't know if, depending on the policy in companies, I've recommended some students to use their iPhone and record the actual thing and then go back during like
with the meeting minutes, go back and review it.
Yeah, go back and listen.
Can.
Yeah, go back and because I don't know what the policies are for companies like recording those type of messages. But if it's internal use and just for your own personal training, go back, record the entire conference call and listen to it. Sometimes you have a personal English coach or a trainer. Sometimes they can assist you in trying to understand some of the phrases and vocabulary that they were using in the conference call.
All right, so Eason, stop looking at the YouTube video that we put out and just listen to the podcast so you can focus on your listening only. All right? Good luck.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
Get inspired.
Here are some quotes to help you think more like a boss.
现在来讨论学习动机。
All right, so my quote is, first think, second dream, third believe, finally there. This comes from Disney. As everyone knows, I'm a big Disney fan. And the reason I love this quote because it really focuses on the fourth step, which is finally there, because many people can dream it, right? Which you do need. You need to dream and think, oh, what do I want? What do I wish? But at the end of the day, you need to make that dream a reality. And the only way you're going to do that is by daring, by pushing yourself to do it and taking that step, taking that jump to say, okay, I want to accomplish this. I want to do this. You can't just dream it all the time. I know some people, that have been studying English, and they're focusing so much on what's the best way for me to learn, and they spend 2-3 months thinking about, oh, should I go to this school? Should I take this class? Should I have a private tutor? All this stuff, researching what's the best way. Those are 3 months that they could have spent actually studying. So jump into that last step, dare to do it.
I'm curious because I am not a Disney fan. What character was saying that?
This is actually by Walt Disney.
Walt Disney himself?
So yeah.
Oh.
First, think it. Second, dream it. Third, believe in yourself. Believe that you can do it, and then take that step. Dare.
I was going to ask you to do it in Mickey Mouse voice.
I can't do Mickey Mouse voice. Okay.
My quote this week is, success is how high you bounce when you hit bottom. Like just a quick second to kind of think what this meant, but it really spoke to me. I'm not a big quotes person, right? Russ forced me to find a quote.
Yeah. He spent like 10 minutes on Google trying to find the quote.
Yeah, but for this one, for some reason, this quote kind of just like jumped out at me. Yeah, resonated with me very well because I can say in my own case, any success we have, and we still are looking to achieve more success, but what little success we've achieved so far, for me, is better because we actually also had that failure or low points, you know. So any highs felt even sweeter because we hit the lows. So I think in some ways you kind of need that low point or at least getting close to it to really enjoy or to enjoy that process of at the points when you actually are at a high, when you achieve some a couple wins. You know?
One of those things about stress is that I kind of really love stress. Going back to my friend's story about why she said I don't feel stress or I look like I don't have stress is because I kind of thrive on stress. For example, I'm a procrastinator. If you give me an assignment to do, I'm going to do it at the last possible minute. So like if my back when I was in university, if my report is due Monday morning, I start working on it Sunday night. And one thing that I found about me procrastinating is I work very efficiently, and I'm actually a lot more creative. So the more stress that I get, the more creative, the more interesting ideas I find shortcuts. I do most of my best work when I'm under pressure.
Yeah, well, that works for you. That does not work for me. I also procrastinate at times.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen that way. You know, I'd like to plan ahead, and in my best results often were that. So,
success is how high you bounce when you hit the bottom. You need to know what that bottom point is. You need to know those stress levels. You need to know that worry, and then say, okay, I can recover from this, and boom, how high you can get.
Yeah, you know, in the first 2 or 3 years of our own business, there were probably 3, 4, 5 times where I didn't know if we would actually have money to pay for next month's salary, staff, just
rent, all that.
Yeah, stuff. It was do or die, and we had to get clients that month or we die.
And those moments were great because he was stressing out like crazy, and I was like, all right, don't worry, I got it. And I dug deep and I figured out, oh, we can call this, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, and things happen.
Yeah, I remember the first time I kind of felt like crawling into a hole and just thinking, oh, that's the end.
We failed.
Right. We failed and we just barely began. And I think his energy and attitude kind of pushed me. And then because each time we were in that hole, we kind of rebounded. We were able to rebound. And sometimes that pressure lit a fire in you. Yeah. And then same times I had to kind of like tag along with it in the beginning. But over time, and we had several times when we were hitting that low point, each time we hit a low, over time, even I started building that resilience.
Yeah, where something will happen. Something will come up.
I know. When we hit that low point, I was like, "Oh, here it is. Here's it again. Okay, we know what to do." And we just get to just going, you know, just doing the task, start working,
and really
plugging at it. Yeah.
Each time we bounce higher and higher and higher.
Yeah. Every time we face that kind of pressure, we almost perform doubly better, or sometimes a bit of luck, or just that daily grind. We just kind of grinded through it, and we're able to work out of it.
Yeah, so it's really just the way you look at things, and even if you're at a low, you know, stay positive, figure out, all right, what can I control, what can I do, and let that fire in you go and push as hard as you can.
Yeah, and I'm also grateful we had those because I think it made us stronger, just personally. That it built that grit and the resilience that I think a lot of business owners should have.
A positive mindset,
right?
Well, if you're constantly negative, you're just gonna, misery thrives on company. What's the expression? Something like that. Basically, if you're constantly negative, you're going to be surrounded by negative people.
Right. If we were both going at a hole, then it'd be done.
No,
It's
yeah.
game over.
So you definitely have to have a positive mindset and then keep surrounding yourself with positive mindset people. All right. Good luck, everyone.
Yeah.
All right.
Fast words. Let's discuss some new words and expressions so we can be more like a boss.
让我们回顾一下今天有哪些重点单字跟片语。
All right, Big Finish, I'll start first. No-brainer. No-brainer is definitely something that is easy, very obvious to see. We call that a no-brainer. So, for example, if you want to learn a new language like German, you have to start with pronunciation, how to pronounce these words, right? So that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and learning English, for example, is a no-brainer that you're going to need to know A through Z.
Exactly, that's a no-brainer.
Our next word is keep one's eye on the ball. So you can say keep my eye on the ball, keep your eye on the ball. And this means to give something one's full attention. So give it your full attention and to not lose focus. So you keep your eye on the ball.
What this means to me is like in business, what's your goal? And no matter what's going on, no matter what you're doing, make sure you're moving towards your goal. So keep your eye on the ball.
Yeah, and another way we can say that is like having a very laser-like focus on that goal, and you're going straight at it. You're not going to digress from it.
Good. No strings attached. This is when someone gives you something without any limitations, demands, expectations. We call that no strings attached. So, for example, you guys probably know the expression friends with benefits. It's you're dating someone and they're not expecting you to be in love or a relationship or anything. Everything between you two has no strings attached.
Right.
Probably the best example I could think of.
It's your favorite kind of relationship.
No strings attached.
All right. My word is a long shot. A long shot, something that has a very low probability or low chance of happening. That's something that's a long shot. Yeah, for me, for example, getting into a no strings attached relationship with someone is a long shot. I'm not built for that. I think I'm more built to be in a relationship with someone.
Ting finding a girlfriend the next month, that's a long shot. There's no way that's going to happen.
What do you mean?
All right, I'd like to see that one. All right, long shot. Basically, it's something that's not going to happen, or the chances of that happening.
So if you don't
are
feel
very,
like you're
very
going to
low.
get a promotion, you can say the promotion's a long shot.
Yeah. Learn the ropes. Learning the ropes, it's a great expression. Maybe it comes from wrestling, from boxing. It's basically learning the basics of your job. You learn the ropes. So before you start doing maybe you have a new hobby. You have your hobby's painting. You want to learn how to paint. First, you need to learn the ropes. You need to learn colors, how to mix colors, how to get your paint, what kind of canvas to use. Learn the basics of your job.
Yeah,
learn the ropes.
For those who watch like cooking shows, right? If you want to be a chef, first thing is like understanding taste.
Tasting, yeah.
just-
Cutting techniques, learn the ropes.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our show. So if you want, I don't even know the ending. For this.
We never do an ending.
No, I don't know how to do the. If you want to get the PDF of ICRT.
No, whatever.
//